All right, how worried should we be about Ionis Pharmaceuticals, IONS, the biotech artist formerly known as ISIS? I'm not talking about how President Trump seems to want to crack down on drug pricing or the way the GOP's Obamacare replacement plan could hurt the whole industry, because when millions of people lose their health care insurance, biotechs like this one will lose millions of customers. Those issues certainly don't help, but there's more to it than Washington. In case you don't know, Ionis Pharmaceuticals pioneered what's known as antisense technology, where they target your RNA and effectively reprogram your cells, allowing them to cure all sorts of diseases, particularly rare genetic conditions. However, even though Ionis has an enormous pipeline with literally dozens of drugs in development, some major partnerships with the likes of players like Biogen, the stock's still down more than 20% year to date. Some of that's because we're in a kind of healthcare limbo, but a lot of it is company specific. 2 weeks ago, Goldman Sachs published an incredibly hard-hitting downgrade of Ionis, taking it to a sell, pointing out that the company has one of the highest discontinuation rates in the industry, 47%, meaning many of the drug candidates never even get anywhere near the FDA approval process. Goldman also talked about safety concerns related to Ionis' technology. It seems that many of these antisense drugs can have real toxicity issues, at least according to the FDA. There are other big beef. Aside from Spinraza, that's the company's treatment for spinal muscular atrophy, the leading cause of infantile death worldwide, Goldman doesn't think much of Ionis' late-stage pipeline at all. Even its most compelling products could potentially face serious competition, either from gene therapy or from other biotechs using similar RNA interference technology like Ionis Pharma. All right, so what do we have to do here? What do we do? Ionis has given us some fabulous long-term gains. It's tripled since I started recommending it for speculation 4.5 years ago. But if Goldman is right, maybe it's too risky. That's why I want to dig deeper with Dr. Stanley Crooke, Chairman and CEO of Ionis Pharmaceuticals, get a better sense of his company's prospects. Dr. Crooke, welcome back to Mad Money.
Great to be back, Jim. Thanks for having me.
All right, Doctor, we got to take it right on here. Goldman says that your antisense platform has yet to be fully optimized, given the low rate of clinical success and ongoing toxicity across multiple drugs. What do you have to say?
Well, I think rather than responding directly to that, I think the most sensible thing to do is just to give you a small list of the obvious tangible opportunities that have just clearly tangible value.
Okay.
Just at a very high level, first of all, we were profitable at the operating line last year, and we've said that we will be profitable on an ongoing basis going forward. Second, Spinraza is obviously a fundamental breakthrough in the treatment of a catastrophic disease. And essentially all analysts that I've read show that Spinraza is capable of being a several billion-dollar a year drug. We know that the launch is going extremely well. And so that has real value.
When you say that, I don't mean to be rude, but you say extremely well. Goldman questions whether it can really make a lot of money, and part of that is because they say that there are safety risks, and that there is pushback from insurance.
Yeah, I think it's just wrong.
Okay.
First of all, we identified no specific safety signals, and probably the best evidence for that is that the FDA approved the drug in a record time of about 3 months with the broadest label possible. Now, in a package insert, the FDA chooses to put all sorts of observations in, and those are appropriate to be in the package insert. But the drug works phenomenally well. We've identified no significant side effects, and there is no current competition. So we're very confident of this drug. And I think if you talk to physicians who are using it, or you talk to patients or parents of patients who are benefiting from it, who are alive and well because of the drug, I think you'll find that what I've said is absolute true.
Okay. And how about the notion
I think
the pipeline? Can you please speak to the pipeline about, Goldman feels that because of this toxicity issue that it really is, frankly, the pipeline's promise is not nearly as great as your company has said.
Well, of course, I disagree. And so let's just focus on the phase 3 assets first. Okay. We just finished a phase 3 program with a drug called volanesorsen to treat patients with a severe rare disease that is associated with fatality, severe day-to-day symptoms, and then punctuated by bouts of potentially fatal pancreatitis. All of these problems are caused by severely high triglycerides. The patients who entered our trial had triglyceride levels of 2,200 milligrams per deciliter. Healthy is 150. And volanesorsen lowered triglycerides by an astonishing 1,700 milligrams per deciliter. Now, it is true that the first presentation of the only natural history study, thorough natural history study to be done in these patients, took place after about midpoint of our phase 3 study. And before that, we encountered some platelet declines.
Okay.
And we've now learned, thanks to the natural history study, that those are a natural process of the disease associated with severely high triglycerides. If our drug lowers triglycerides, they may make them a little worse. It took a while for us to understand that, get control of that. But once we did, there were no more dropouts in the study, and the drug has performed extremely well.
Okay, well,
there is no treatment for these patients.
Right. Okay, well, let me just ask, because I'm running short of time, but the TTRX, you've got some data coming up. This is another important study. Are you confident that Goldman will look, Goldman's too negative? Are you confident Goldman's too negative about that drug?
Yes, I am. But I think more importantly, what we have, in addition to TTR, is 38 other drugs in development.
Okay.
And partners that you just named, they just, in this quarter alone, $250 million from corporate partners who know every bit of data in the company. Certainly much more information than any analyst who depends on public information only.
$250 million in milestone and royalty payments to your company, even though Goldman says sell, they are paying it to you. You've got that in your coffers.
Well, just to be clear, it's cash. It's also we did a new relationship with Novartis earlier this quarter. We have milestones coming. We have all kinds of transactions with not just Bayer and Biogen and AZ and GSK, but Novartis and Roche and J&J. And I would say that it would be very difficult to make the case for those folks to invest, knowing everything going on in the company, if all of our drugs were going to fail and our toxicities were a big problem.
Fair enough. That's where we're going to leave it. Dr. Stanley Crooke, the founder, chairman, and CEO of Ionis Pharmaceuticals. Thank you so much for coming on, sir. I really appreciate it. Well, you've got to look at both sides. One guy says it's a sell, the drugs aren't working. Another guy, Stanley Crooke, just told you about all those partners and the money coming in. Make up your own decision. This is a tough one. Mad Money's back into the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.